way. It was just too exciting to give to you all at once. But now we are ready for the action.
Just felt like a marathon there, but here we go. Again, looking on how Jun, I expect him to be the tempo setter in this jungle. Steel, I feel like he is the weakest jungler. He has a lot to prove to me personally, but maybe on the Kindred he's going to feel comfortable. Kindred has a very strong level 2. I kind of feel like if Kindred finds you first and saves her ability to kind of like somersault out of your engage, she just like auto wins because your your ranged auto attacks are so strong early levels. But obviously, if Jarvan ever gets on top of her, connects with the EQ, then things can go sideways very quickly.
It's who catches whom out in the jungle, you have to fear. Looks like Jun is going to start down towards the bottom side with his bottom lane. Might actually only be Pop who comes across from a hand. Concussive blows, pretty powerful at early levels to help out your jungler, whereas Steel will start top, but G4 did get a ward in, so we'll be able to track his enemy jungler for the moment.
Now, expect G4 on the Sakali to get shoved in. Obviously, if he finds the opportunity to walk up to him, slam him with the Q, that'd be nice, but it's a little bit hard against Ziggs.
It's going to be incredibly hard, and you have to remember the Ziggs passive as well. That short fuse, giving those empowered auto attacks every 12 seconds or so, actually makes it really difficult for the Akali in the lane. G4 is going to have a little bit of a time on the struggle bus early on, you have to feel. Now, Jun, level 2 gank in the bottom lane. This is what you want to do to put a Sona Taric behind, but there is that barrier on the Sona and the heal on gank. The Dazzle comes out for the wave, clear flash in from Jun, flash away. Jun, very, very quick, pulling the trigger on that summoner spell, but DFM were quick to react as well.
Yeah, but now we'll see if he has the repeat gank if this lane gets pushed in and they're unable to punish that flashless Sona if she's just hiding under her tower. I do want to say it felt like that should have been led by Pop a little bit more, but obviously because he wasn't level 2, couldn't just jump to the creep.
Now, Steel does know that Jun is here. That Sweeper didn't quite catch out the ward, but I believe that was a marked Scuttle Crab that has gone down, so Steel won't be able to get the early mark from the jungle that sometimes you can on a Kindred.
It's going to be harder to contest for a lot of these Scuttle Crabs, though, because he's not going to have control or free control over the river because his bot lane is Sona Taric. So, and you can see how top lane's going for him. So it feels like Steel wants his marks where he can actually utilize the Ziggs pressure to actually get access to them.
Part of that will be waiting for Ziggs to get something like the Lost Chapter as well. Be able
Definitely
to spam out those spells
pool
a little bit more. Can be quite difficult. Seras has gone for the heal in the mid lane, gives himself a little bit more safety against G4, but does mean that Mega have a double teleport to single teleport advantage, and we'll see if that plays out as the game does progress.
Yeah, a lot of respect, Seras taking that heal, making sure that, okay, I'm against an Akali, things are probably going to get pretty fresh post level 6, so I'll buckle up for this one and take the defensive summoner.
Sometimes you have to make those sacrifices. Of course, like as a Ziggs, you probably want to be taking the teleport generally, just so you can get back into the lane quickly and push it up.
When we used to see Ziggs, a lot of it was the barrier, but I feel like he also wants the utility from the movement speed. Like maybe we get some cool satchel plays where he needs to run back to his satchel.
We will see. Not really too much going on as of yet, apart from that early gank from Jun. Haven't seen him going back towards the bottom side, but now that is where his jungle is respawning. So he is going to be down towards those Razorbeaks, towards those Krugs. And there's always the possibility of a gank into a Sona Taric. We talked about the fact they can get pushed in early on. That seems to be what's happening. But in terms of CS, in terms of gold in that bottom lane, we're probably pretty much even.
And it's, again, they're not here to win the lane phase. They're here to get out of the lane phase as smoothly as possible. Sona really finds a lot of her teeth when she has access to things like the Lich Bane. She can actually do a lot of surprising damage, so it's not just about the defensive nature of this team fight, as Steel's also peeking his head down here. I think he's just buying some space for Yutapon and Gong down there.
Yeah, it's more of a tracking positioning, isn't it? Like, just in case Jun has decided to come down towards this bottom side, neither jungler really going to be able to do too much in the early game. First, Dragon is going to be a Cloud as well, so no real impetus for either of these teams to, up the tempo, up the pace as of yet.
And you have to think that that really suits Detonation FocusMe. They don't want to get into a lot of early fights, so things like early Cloud Dragons probably feels pretty healthy, that there's no, like you're saying, onus on them to walk out into that river and contest.
And we do see Yutapon go back and get that first upgrade. Frostbang now finished on the Sona. We'll see her continuing with that poke. Let's have a quick look at how far she is along the quest line. 206 gold earned, so far. Need 450 from that support item to get the quest upgrade, and then we'll start seeing Yutapon go for those minions.
And I think a big issue in slowing down how confident he felt to step forward was, of course, losing that flash so early on. You don't want to take as many aggro trades unless you have perfect information on where June's going to be hanging around.
So this is an interesting one. We've seen Steel actually stay around this river for quite a while. Jun and Pop are waiting around the corner to see perhaps if they can catch out Steel as he goes for this mark on the Scuttle Crab. But the Sona Tarek are down towards that bottom side, can rotate pretty quickly. I think Mega are just going to accept that they can't really do too much around this crab, and Steel will get his first mark of the game.
I actually think this is pretty significant, and it was based off of back timers. So again, Lloyd and Pop were having the push priority into that lane. Now Yutapon's going to have access to his flash pretty similarly, but the fact that Sona Tarek got easy backs in, got to the lane first, were able to shove it forward and allow Steel that space to walk into river.
And that's exactly what you want if you are playing the Kindred early on. You know, you need to get these marks stacking up. A lot of people talk about you want to get towards that 4-mark stack as quickly as possible, get the extra 75 range. It just gives you so much more pressure in teamfights, so much more ability to jump around fights as well.
And it actually means a lot more for this team comp in particular, because you could say that, you know, maybe they are lackluster on some of that damage. If Seros' skill shots aren't landing, it's Sona versus a traditional scaling ADC. So having a carry-oriented Kindred, if Kindred gets really big, can be very important to how these team fights play out and how many damage hits they have access to.
Yeah, we haven't always seen Kindreds really dominating in Group A. Usually they were kind of the secondary AD carry threat. Here, Steel is actually running the Conqueror on the Kindred. We have seen some press the attacks. The Conqueror just gives you that little bit more in, you know, prolonged trades.
And it's about kind of like, do you want the burst on the press the attack? I know that Azael feels really strongly on this one about how press the attack, I think its damage is a little bit underrated and how much it can surprise you, but you can understand, you know, the concepts for both.
Either way makes sense.
I'm like Hail of Blades on every champion.
Look, stop talking to Ender so much, okay? I know he loves Hail of Blades, but it doesn't work on everyone. The amount of times in solo queue you've just picked like Hail of Blades Pike. It's like, that doesn't work.
Kindred was a thing.
It was. Because you could get the stacks up, the Mountain Dread incredibly quickly.
Yeah, it's just like the drive-by.
Did work out, give you quite a bit of burst. Now, Jun and Pop going for the invade here, have a control ward in towards this blue buff, and you can see Lloyd not really struggling in the 2v1 in the bottom lane. This is the weakness of Sona Tarek, because they can't really threaten you too much before they get towards that level 6.
And this is actually really nice for Mega in that Pop is able to team up with June. This is a team, I mean, we'll kind of repeat the same storyline for a lot of teams because it feels very similar for this group, but the supports love to team up with their junglers, not just in creating plays and opportunities for them, but on these scouting deep vision missions. Because again, June wants to gain as much information about Steel as possible so he can adjust his path and kind of pick where he's going to hit on this map.
Definitely will. Evie actually not struggling too much in the top lane either. It feels like across the board, very even for all of these lanes. You know, there's a little advantage taken here or there, but it's still pretty close.
I actually think this is Rocky just respecting that he doesn't have jungle attention on his side of the map, and there's a possibility that Steel could be there, especially because his blue buff was stolen. So he's allowing himself to play weak side, to get shoved in, and to feel fine kind of sitting under his tower. He knows that there's no threat of dive, especially on the likes of the Victor, and he has access to his flash.
After Jun maybe goes for a gank here, I want to talk a little bit more about that weak side, strong side thing. So there's nomenclature we use, wording we use, but I want to break down exactly how one side of the map would be stronger than the other. Jun is still staying around that bottom lane, looking for Yutapon and Gang to actually push a little bit too far forward. Hasn't gone for anything yet, and actually Steel's down there as well. G4 and Seros trading in the mid lane, but bot lane is where the action's at. Yutapon lands the 3-man crescendo. Lloyd with a knockback. The buster shot jumps away with that rocket leap and will escape, but DFM in the right place at the right time with those reactions.
Yeah, managed to get double summoner spell the barrier as well as the heal for just the barrier of Yutapon, and with access still to Tarek's ultimate as well as Steel's, you can see the confidence that they're just going to rock up into river, and we thought that this was going to be slow paced, but they're like, nah, just take the cloud, it's free right now.
Looks like G4's
I say that.
across. Yeah, it's not too free. Of course, they have a huge amount of sustain with the Starlight's Touch and the Hymn of Aria of Perseverance coming out from the Sona. Just quickly, before we talk any more about this game, there is a reminder, Group A tiebreaker game. It's going to be between PVB and Fenerbahçe, and that will take place at the end of today. So we have this game, 3 more games from Group B, and then we have the tiebreaker game from Group A.
So the big shift of power there, why they respected the Cloud Dragon so much, despite having access to key ultimates, was Seros didn't have his mana pool. He had expended it entirely to farm off that wave, and needed to take the back. So respecting the communication from the mid laner and saying, Zig's not ready to fight, we're not going to die over Cloud, back off.
As we have a lull in the game, Fosk, weak and strong sides of the map. Explain to me how we can judge one side of this map as the strong side, how we can judge one side of the map as the weak side, and what that actually means for these teams.
So it starts with priority through pushing usually, or priority through kill pressure. So right now, the strong side of the map is the top side of the map for Mega, simply because they have the pushing pressure that Victor is super far forward in the lane, pushing Evie under his tower, and they also have the numbers advantage because they swapped Lloyd and Pop up here to have access over the Rift Herald. So right now, there's really nothing that Detonation FocusMe can do on Mega's strong side of the map, which is top, so they actually need to either look for a trade, or maybe they take a dragon. In fact, you see the on the way pings, looks like they're gonna do the dragon.
So you can always just count how many people are on one side of the map at any given time and say, well, top side has 4 people, bot side has 4 people from the enemy team, bot side is strong for DFM, and top side is strong for Mega.
And that's also just a very simplistic way to look at it. It can get more complex about how certain matchups work, but sometimes it is as simple as just basic math.
Well, Mega used the basic math in their favor, got the Rift Herald, pushed in with it, get all of the plates in the top lane, equalize that gold score, and they're actually going to keep pushing just a little bit more, get another charge out from that Rift Herald. Meanwhile, in the bottom side, DFM get the Cloud Drake, and a couple of plates from bot lane, but Sona Tarek not the best at taking towers early on.
But they are very good at diving towers if Rocky isn't respectful and feeling how confident that Detonation FocusMe are going to be. But I actually really like this response from Pop, and a very conservative backup from Detonation FocusMe.
Yeah, just retreating as soon as they thought anything might be happening. Double tiers are finished in that bottom lane. Usually you see Sona go up towards something like the Seraphs into Lichbane for that little bit of extra AP. Tarek can a multitude of different ways, usually just supportive items. On the other side of the Rift, it's Hextech Gunblade on its way for G4, and it looks to be an Infinity Edge on its way for Lloyd as well.
And I feel like this is actually where things can get really scary for Detonation FocusMe's composition. It feels like they're in a bit of a power trough right now. They're waiting on other key items to come in before they want to start grouping up and being successful in fights. Whereas on an open map like this can be hunting grounds for Mega. Akali is really looking to getting out to one of these side lanes, especially a very long one, and starting to find some prey. So I expect to see the swap come in. You can even see Rocky's already moved to the mid lane, and G4 to now start either walking up top lane or just hunting through the river.
Yeah, now that you've completed that first item in the form of the Hextech Gunblade, you have so much more power. And we did say in Pick and Ban, you know, DFM are on a timer. When they get to that 20-25 minute mark, those 2-3 items, they are going to be incredibly strong, incredibly hard to deal with. Mega, at some point in the next 10 to 15 minutes, do need to start breaking these lanes, breaking DFM's economy.
I want to say, as long as DFM can execute on their composition,
yes,
because there is a very...
assuming they play the composition the way it should be played.
There is such thing as too much of a good thing. So if you press all your buttons at the same time, that's not going to work for this team fight.
You probably get one kill, you know, crescendo into just auto attacks coming out from the Kale. You can see Evie, level 10, has the first rank of those flaming blades, but doesn't have the range auto attacks as of yet. Not going to be dealing too much damage to any White Walkers that might come his way. Mega grouping up towards this bottom lane. G4 on his way down. Yeah,
they're cheating a little bit for a dive. I hope that they don't dive. Instead, they just pressure the tower, because you can see with the reach of Zig's ultimate, as well as just the defensive nature of Sona and Tarek, this is still very precarious to dive.
Yeah,
so
G4's actually pushed all the way into the jungle here. Steel's going to clear it out. There's so much vision control from both the teams around here, and you can see Mega decide not to go for the dive. Instead, they bring Jun and G4 up towards this mid lane.
And I love the options that Mega are kind of sizing up right now. They know that they need to use their advantageous member, the fact that Rocky is rotating, catching waves, that they had the kill pressure there on the Akali, so they can start forcing Zig back against his tower, and they're just cheating for pressure. You know, is this going to equal chip damage on the bottom tower? Is this going to equal chip damage on the mid tower? And then hopefully that they catch someone out. Mega are on the hunt. They're looking for something to break this game open, whether that's a pick or a dive, whatever iteration it takes form in.
However, Detonation FocusMe very good at delaying games, very good at not getting caught out, not having the enemy actually finding those picks, and that's how they won the LJL. Here they're doing it once again, 15 minutes in, they are only scaling, yet to have a kill, yet to really have too much impact from either of these teams.
That said, Mega are also fine. I have a feeling that they'll probably play for first item on Trist. Maybe she goes for the Infinity Edge. That'll tell me that, again, they're going to be looking for fights. If instead of going for Eye Edge, she completes her Zeal item, then it tells me that they're going to start rotating Lloyd around and taking structures.
Towers, yeah. that explosive shot can just help you out taking towers incredibly quickly.
And this will be the call here. So
Here we
Trist,
go.
sitting on his flat AD items, has the dagger. Will it be Zeal? Will it be Infinity Edge?
It's Infinity Edge.
They're gonna fight.
I like that. I like it when teams decide to fight. Honestly, when you said maybe they'll just rotate and take towers, my face dropped a little bit fast.
And the reasoning is a lot of teams will have the flat AD and then the attack speed from the Zeal. And so because you can't crit the tower, you just have higher attack speed to push it down versus the battle stats from the INTZ. Although there is an interesting build running around where Jin's like stacking all these Infinity Edges.
Yes, because the flat AD is just worth it.
Because it's such a cost-efficient item.
On Jin.
I would love to see like triple Infinity Edges in.
It's very powerful on Jin. Obviously, much stronger on 9.9 as well when the Jin buffs did come through. Now, DFM looking for a fight in the bottom lane. Jin's going to run away, Steal on the chase, but no real chase potential from DFM. It's much more about letting Mega fight you rather than being able to engage the fight yourself.
Now, their ability to walk back opponents. Now, what they're waiting for is G4, which is why Mega are being very patient with how they're posturing around this fight. But since it is an Infernal, things should come crashing together here.
Here we go. Rocky's up towards the top lane, has the teleport. 3,000 HP on that Infernal. Teleport coming in from Rocky. G4 on the wrong side of the fight, but we use the Twilight Shroud. 3,000 HP still on the Infernal as it targets out Mega. G4 force to the one side. Crescendo comes out. There's the Glacial Fissure as well. Mega Inferno Bomb hits all of Mega. There's a lot of damage coming out as Evie now trading on towards the Infernal. It's taken by Pop, by Mega. The Braum takes the Infernal, steals it away, and DFM now just trying to chase for something. Lloyd caught out just a little bit. The flash is coming in. First blood to Evie, but DFM were unable to get the Infernal. Mega stole it away.
They may have lost the Infernal, but they do have the creep around them, so they get the first blood as on Kale of all things, as well as the tower, and they can possibly push through here because they're delaying a lot of the backs.
I did ask you when the Kale would really come online. It seems like Trinity Force and level 11 is doing a huge amount of work here for Evie. The carry of the team so consistently. He'll force G4 back. It's a big minion wave. DFM looking for their second tower of the push. Have the satchel charge as well just to help out. Get that little bit of final damage. And Detonation FocusMe will take a 2,500 gold lead at the 17-minute mark.
They just sit quietly and wait. They scale through their lanes. They're set up. They're ready to team fight. And then they bring in their star player, Evie, and then just clean the fight. I actually thought that things were going to be really scary because so many ultimates were used on Detonation FocusMe without access to the kill. You can see that they used the Sona ultimate, they used the Mega Inferno Bomb, and they just had access to Lamb's Respite and Taric, but the confidence to push forward after losing the Infernal and chase down the kill.
The problem is here for Mega, like how do you fight the rest of the ultimates on Detonation FocusMe? They've still got Lamb's Respite, they've still got the Divine Judgment, the Kale ultimate, and they've still got the Cosmic Radiance coming out from the Taric. If you ever try and fight them after taking that Inferno, you just don't have the damage to burst through all of that invulnerability.
I think you just try to snap, turn, and see what you get, but it felt like the call was, we've got the Infernal, now get the hell out.
Right, Pop was able to steal that away. Good stuff from him, but the rest of Mega unable to do too much in that final fight. Now they're pushing it towards that mid lane, looking for the second tower of the game for themselves. Not going to be able to get it. And Evie, well and truly online on this Kale. He's going to be put in his side lane to try and deal with Rocky.
I feel like the most frustrating part, though, is Saros now, who Ziggs at this point is just going to free clear the waves. He's got the blue buff, and he can just be a massive roadblock. Like, as long as Ziggs is alive and has the wave clear, you will not cross this line. So I like that Mega are deciding to kind of split up the map, saying we cannot deal with this. Let's try to attack into our side lanes.
Yeah, Mega going for the 1-3-1, putting Rocky in a side lane, putting G4 up towards that top side as well, but they do lose that mid lane tower because of it. Detonation FocusMe happy just to group up.
And this may be the only option. It could be that the more team fights that we see between these teams, that Mega come to the conclusion that they can't just group up and force the 5v5, so they start playing to those side lanes more, which is why it's so detrimental for them that it was Evie that got that first blood, that he's feeling so comfortable on that Kale, because he can just match them into that side lane, and then suddenly what are your win conditions?
Well, Mega now trying to group up and take down this mid lane tower. Just to remind you all, after this Mega Inferno Bomb comes down and the wave is cleared, due to a mourning period taking place in Vietnam, Group B will play their last 8 games and eventual tiebreaker games on the 5th of May. So it's in a couple of days' time. Going to be a little while before we see this group complete its cycle, and it also gives the teams just a little bit of time to, maybe look over a few VODs, see exactly how they made mistakes on the first day of groups.
I think it's really interesting how the tournament format structure is there. I think that it felt like it was how you played on the day because there were so many games that packed in. If you're just having an incredible day, you can have an incredible tournament. But now that there is a little bit of that space, it now starts going into kind of the strategy. How do you prepare, kind of changing the dynamics about how you want to take down your opponent.
And teams will, of course, still be playing 4 games on that final day, so there's a lot riding on it. And a lot riding on this game as well. You know, taking the first blood, the first victory in a group like this can really set the momentum for your team. And for a team like Detonation, FocusMe, who have always kind of been on the cusp, you know, going like 2-4, getting a couple of wins here and there, winning this game in a group that doesn't seem too obvious, like favorites, could be really good.
I had a lot of questions about Detonation FocusMe, and I'm actually getting an answer. I was afraid that this team would actually just get blown out in the lane phase, that they'd take the skill check, that they would lose it, and they would never get to showcase their team fighting, their play style that made them such a powerhouse in Japan. And I thought of all teams, it would be Mega to do it, but I was proven wrong today for Detonation FocusMe. They managed to survive the lane phase. They're now in their comfortable pocket, and we'll see what kind of decision makings that they make around the map of how they're able to curate these team fights and force Mega to check into them.
Yeah, they still need to play these team fights pretty darn well to take down Megas. Mega's team fighting is nothing to be sniffed at. Detonation FocusMe with a slight gold lead, grouping up as a 5-man mid. G4's down towards the bottom side of this, could come up through the river, but it's an Infernal Drake once again, and that's all DFM want. They get the push prio mid, they now move in, clear out any vision that they can, and look towards this dragon.
And now you're dealing with the vision control of Sona Taric, which is something that we don't often get to talk about. You know, we talk about how it's impossible to break them, all of the heals, all of the shield, but their vision control, their map control, because you're placing that many wards, is also a huge factor.
DFM starting up this Inferno. G4's up towards the top side of it. Zig pushing in mid. Lots of damage coming out. The Unbreakable used there as well. It means can't be used to stop the crescendo. All ultimate still available for Detonation FocusMe as they turn towards the Inferno. It resets. Mega able just to chip away, able to poke, but look at the damage they're taking. Look at the healing on Detonation FocusMe. No one down below any health at all. They're all sitting up at full, and Mega realize you just can't do anything against that. They don't have the Grievous Wounds. They have no Executioner's Callings. They don't have a Morello Nomicon. They have no way to deal with this Sona Taric at the moment.
And I have a feeling, I have a question if they're going to continue to look for this pincer maneuver. You see that G4 is constantly skirting up on the other side opposite his team, obviously looking for the assassination. You know, maybe Sona's a little bit too far away from the Taric. Maybe he can try to get out of crescendo or just push her out of a fight before they're able to stack.
Oh, Rocky flashes away, but a great flash follow from Gang. The Mega Inferno Bomb lands on the head of Rocky, and he is forced away. The Cosmic Radiance keeping all of Detonation FocusMe alive, and Mega forced back. Not really too much they can do. We'll start to see the healing coming out from DFM as they reset the fight.
Yeah, but what's the decision-making going to be? Are they going to turn towards the Baron? It looks like they're going to clear out their waves, a lot of pings going on, and probably massive items coming through.
Ziggs is sitting on 2,000 gold right now. We can see this is just Rocky stepping a little bit too far.
And just the instantaneous flash lock there, really nicely done from Taric to hit that angle and make sure that he could lock down Victor. I think a little bit overzealous. I think they expected that, okay, one of our members got caught up, maybe Mega will pull the trigger and jump on us. Don't think they needed to spam all those ultimates down.
So what I did like about it, although I agree that they didn't need to use them all in that moment, they did time them well. The Kindred ultimate came down, then the Taric ultimate was used, which meant as the Kindred ultimate went off cooldown, when the invulnerability stopped, then the Cosmic Radiance came in and you had that second layer of invulnerability.
I think it determined their decision-making that they weren't immediately going to run to an objective, that it was find the pick and then reset the map.
Definitely did. We talked about the time at the start of the game for Detonation FocusMe. Well, the clock is ticking now for Mega. DFM sitting at 2 items across the board. Mega really need to find an avenue of approach. You now do have that Executioner's Calling. You've got the Morello Nomicon on its way as well.
And there is possibility that in this team fight, Victor's a very kind of like low econ champion. He doesn't need a lot of gold to do a lot of damage because of how cost efficient his hex core can be. Like, think about this. If you get Jarvan ultimate and then you just slam down some Victor damage in there, just like spread all that AoE around, that can be pretty devastating. But again, it's about playing around Detonation FocusMe's cooldowns, which I think is going to be the tricky part for Mega to problem solve these team fights.
So difficult. And when you're starting to get, some of these tanky items as well on people like Gang, it's not like you can knock him out before the Cosmic Radiance comes down. He now has the Abyssal Pass. A lot of your damage is magic damage on the side of Mega. You've only got the Tristana there doing AD. Steel building up some of that extra, AD. A little bit of that cleaver there as well.
Yeah, we wanted the damage Kindred coming out, and Steel is definitely delivering here.
Yep. And I would say, you know, he's not got his huge carry pants on. He's not looking at, you know, a 3-4 item, but he's been 100% kill participation. It's just a low kill game.
And for all the criticisms that I've had of Steel and his early game pathing and kind of his influence in early game as a jungler, he is a team fighting jungler. Hold my breath though, Udapon.
So this is G4 on Udapon, and he doesn't take him below half health. That is a Sona he's trying to catch out. That is your assassin trying to kill a Sona, and you don't take her below half health. She's now back to full. And I think that is kind of the way that this game feels to be going.
I don't think Udapon knew either, because he instantly procced his Archangels, and he was like, I don't know how much damage this is going to do to me, not a lot.
Better safe than sorry, and he's still got 4 different ways of becoming invulnerable. Detonation, FocusMe, start up the Baron, they turn the fight, the Glacial Fish comes out from Pop. Lloyd down towards this bottom side, forced away by DFM. The Mega Inferno Bomb connects, and Evie gets the kill. G4 has to jump across the wall, and Detonation, FocusMe will turn straight back towards the Baron. Now,
that catch was actually huge. The only response that they have right now is to try to go for a steal while Victor is hard pushing bottom.
The question is, does Rocky TP in? Jun forced away, the Dazzle almost connected. He had to flash, G4 chased away by Evie. The KO damage is just indomitable, and Jun continues to be zoned away by Seras. Now, 4,000 HP left on the Baron. Jun not going to get anywhere near it. Detonation FocusMe will get it, but the inhibitor tower is the focus here from Rocky. Will, I believe, just look to get this and then back away before we see Detonation FocusMe return to their base.
Huge there. The fact that he wasn't able to trade inhib, especially bottom inhib for the Baron, it's still a massive win for Detonation FocusMe. They can just reset this map, push out their side lanes, and then group up wherever they want.
And Evie is on the cusp of being unstoppable. Halfway to level 16, actually about 3/4 of the way now. Let's have another look at this. You see Pop disengaging, but then, oh, the satchel charge knocks Lloyd out of his jump.
And we're actually going to have a game where most of the members on Mega are going to end the game 0, 0, and 0.
Yep.
And that basically tells the story of this. Detonation FocusMe picked a scaling composition. They got through the lanes absolutely no problem, save for an early burnt flash. And now Mega have kind of missed their mark. They missed the window, and they don't know what to do. They don't know how to attack.
Detonation FocusMe weathered any early game storm that could have come from Mega. Mega never really pulled the trigger. We never really saw that spark of ingenuity, that spark of fight. Apart from the first gank from Jun down towards that bottom lane, I can't remember him having too much of an impact on the map. And now DFM pushing under inhibitor towers here. Evie, level 16. Waves of fire just sweeping away the minion wave in front of him. DFM just going to push towards this inhibitor tower. Seros on his way. It's going to be a 5v5. G4 has returned, but the turret is going to go down. Evie pushing onto Rocky. The flash forward. There's the crescendo. Udapon there in the middle of it all as well. As G4's forced back, they're just running for the hills. DFM have taken no damage whatsoever. They take the inhibitor. They might just be looking for the game.
Mega, you need to pick a moment to fight. It's do or die, because these guys are not slowing down.
There's no point losing your Nexus if you don't think the fight is good enough. You just have to go for it.
They're waiting for the wave.
Point, you've lost too much. The wave comes in, pulled back with the gravity well, but Evie just chases Rocky away once again. The Sona's in the middle of it all as Jun up towards the top side. First Nexus tower going to fall very rapidly. G4 trying to step forward, trying to push them back, but you gotta pull the trigger. Mega, you gotta go for it. There's your Nexus towers going down. You only have one more of those left.
Mega, the cooldowns are down. They don't have access to Ziggle. They don't have access to Sonal. I think they're just saying, if we die here, the game is over. Let's see if they'll leave and take our chances later on. But it only looks worse. And Detonation FocusMe, they're not leaving.
You've still got Cosmic Radiance. You've still got Lamb's Respite. You still have Divine Judgment. You have 3 forms of invulnerability, and you're pushing forward. Evie continues to swipe away at Mega, and Lloyd can't do anything about it. He has to jump away. The Nexus tower falls. Jun lands the Cataclysm on 4 players, but you just can't do any damage. Rocky, however, has taken out Udapon. Here's the Cosmic Radiance. Jun forced low. The Lamb's Respite times out. Seros gets him, and now it's just the Nexus to target Yang. Flashing forward with the Dazzle. It's a double for Rocky, though. They're trying to turn it around. It's DFM just focusing down the Nexus. Evie's still alive on the backline. A triple kill for Rocky, but is that too little too late? Because Detonation FocusMe are focusing the Nexus, and they take game 1 of Group B.
And huge smiles on the face of the Japanese team. I had questions, and they shut me down. This team came to play. They pulled out very creative comp. They had the Sona Taric, but they put their own unique twist on it. And frankly,